The question states that for each diagram, we have to write the value of the perimeter in the table of values, the value of the perimeter. In a table of values, you need to understand that we have to compare two things. In a table of values, there has to be two things, two variables, some x value and some y value. We know one of the values has to be perimeter. So how about we just make, and it doesn't really matter, we can make perimeter to be our y. We will say perimeter is our y. So what has to be our x? We have to figure out what x is going to be. Really, the only other option is the diagram number. We have to make something our diagram. We have to make one of these variables our diagram number. So we can say diagram number. So we'll go ahead, we'll write 1, 2, 3, because there's 3 diagrams, and the perimeter will go in y. So we have perimeter here is 4. We'll write 4. The perimeter here is 4 plus 1 plus 1 plus 4. That's 10. And the perimeter here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 7, and 1 and 1. That makes 16. And then it says use the information to write the relation. So we've done part 1. We've done the table of values. Now we have to write the relation, which is a fancy way of saying the equation. Now I taught you a really fast way to do this. Remember when I taught you the trick? You gotta go like this. You gotta find the y pattern, which is plus 6. Every time it's plus, here even it's plus 6. And then find the x pattern, which is plus 1. And then divide the y pattern by the x pattern. And when you do that, you're gonna get 6 divided by 1. And that makes 6. Now what's so important about the 6? It's the multiplier. So we have to take that 6 and we have to use it as our multiplier. We have to multiply by 6. You see what I just did? So I'm going to write it in. I'm going to go times 6. But Mr. Melham, that doesn't make the answer. The answer is 4 and 6 times 1 is 6. Ah, yes. But if you take this and you subtract 2, then you get 4. 6 times 1 is 6 minus 2 is 4. But it has to be repeatable. Let's see if we can repeat it again. Times by 6, subtract by 2. Well, 6 times 2 is 12, minus 2 is 10. It works. Do it again here. 6 times 3 is 18, minus 2 is 16. It works every time. So my expression is going to be, I have to times the x values by 6. Always put your number in front. We call that the coefficient. Multiplied by x, and then subtract by 2 equals y. That equals the y values. Some of you may have wanted to write it like this. With the x first, and then you write this equals y. Make sure the 6 is in brackets. This is absolutely correct. But by convention, we want to write the number before we write the letter. It's a convention. Is it wrong to do this? It's not wrong, but it's better to do this format here. The last part of the question asks us, what will the perimeter be of the 90-second structure? The 90-second structure. Seems like a very complicated thing to figure out, but not so much because we have an equation. Remember that word substitution? Yeah, we're going to use it right now. Look, the 90-second structure. Let me ask you something. Are structures the x or are the structures the y? The structures are the x because x is the diagram or the structure number. Diagram number, those are the x. So what that means is I'm going to put 92 where x is. I'm going to substitute. So I'm going to go 6. I won't write x. I'm going to write bracket. I'm going to write 92. And then I'm going to minus 2. And I'll get y, which is my perimeter. Now 6 times 92, let's see here. 6 times 2 is 12. Carry the 1. 6 times 9 is 54. 55. 552. Subtract by 2 equals y. So what's y going to be? Y equals 550. 550 what? We can call them centimeters. if we assume this is a centimeter each, all the way around, each block is a centimeter, we could say 550 centimeters is the perimeter of the 90-second structure. How simple is that? Once you've got yourself an equation, we can do all kinds of things with that equation. Like this. You know those surgeons? They work with anesthesiologists, which their job is to inject anesthetics inside of the patient so they don't feel the pain of the surgery. That's right. And it all depends, how much they inject depends on how much that person weighs. So let's, as an example, let's say here the instructions on the bottle of an anesthetic asks a doctor to inject 50 milligrams to someone who is 20 kilograms. So inject 50 milligrams of the drug to somebody who is 20 kilograms. And for every 1 kilogram increase of the person's body weight, of course, the bottle states to increase the dosage by 3 milligrams. Make a table of values. So we need two things to compare. Any table of values compares two things. We have anesthetic, so we can call this the drug. And the other one needs to be, say, the person's mass, how much they weigh. And we know that we have to put 50 milligrams of drug for every 20 or for the first 20 kilograms. So we have a relationship here. We have 20 kilograms of mass is 50 milligrams of drug. So they don't feel the pain of the surgery. Now, for every 1 kilogram, the bottle states to increase the dosage by 3. So you increase this person's mass to 21 kilograms. That's an increase of 1. You are going to inject now 53 milligrams of medication, of the drug. You jump this one to 22 kilograms. You see where we're getting at now? It's going to be 56 milligrams, 23 kilograms. Increase the mass by 1 kilogram. We have to increase the drug by 3. So we have 59 milligrams. Now it asks us to write the relation. In other words, write the equation. So we are going to do this the simple way. We're going to find the pattern here. We're going to find it. It is plus 3. And here the pattern is plus 1. Divide the y pattern by the x pattern. So y divided by x equals positive 3 divided by positive 1 equals positive 3. So that's my multiplier. This is my multiplier. So I have to multiply this side by 3. So let's put that in. Let's go times this by 3. But that does not get us the answer. That gets us 60. But if you minus 10, then you get 50. You see what happened here? But it has to work every time. So let's multiply this side by 3. That makes 3 times 21 is 63 minus 10 equals 53. And it should work for the others too, and it does. But now our expression, the relation, the equation is going to be triple, right? Times 3 means triple. So we're going to triple x minus 10. We're going to triple it and then minus 10. And when we do that, we get the y's. That's our equation. And we can use this to answer the next part, which says how many milligrams of anesthetic is required for somebody who weighs 72 kilograms. Let me ask you something. Kilograms. Is it this side, the x's, or is it the y's? It is the x's. So we have to take 72 and substitute it right in here. So we're going to write 3, but we won't write x. We are going to write 72. And then we are going to subtract 10. And that should get us the y value. Now let's go. 3 times 72. Let's see. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 7 is 21. So 216 minus 10 equals y. 216 minus 10 is 206. Now what are we talking about? We're talking about y. And y is all milligrams. So we will write milligrams over here. And that will get you full marks.